Democrat Senator from Arizona, Kyrsten Sinema, reportedly looking to make changes to the Democrats' new tax and spend climate spending monstrosity. She's worried, Sinema is, that the 15% corporate minimum book tax could trickle down to workers. Duh. She also wants to increase climate spending, drought spending in particular. Joining me now, Oklahoma Congressman, House Ways and Means Committee member Kevin Hern. Congressman, what do you make of this?
Well, it just goes to show you that Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema all along have had a price. Joe Manchin got $1 billion pipeline at the expense of trillions to current taxpayers and future children who are going to pay this debt back. Kyrsten Sinema wanted more Green New Deal pork spending in her state, so that apparently is her price to get the $1 trillion spending. Well, listen, the American people know that spending is what got us into this almost 10% inflation, and now the Democrats want to spend more. It's just more of the same. They're not listening to the American people, and we're going to have inflation run rampant for years.
Well, and just to go over some of the things that the Tax Foundation discovered when it went through this giant bill, and it might not be as ginormous as Build Back Better, but it's still sizable. It found that 30,000 full-time equivalent jobs in the U.S. would be destroyed. It would reduce the average after-tax incomes for Americans across every income quartile over the long run. That is a tax increase on Americans because you raise taxes on those corporations and it filters down to the people who work there. And then it also reduces long-run economic growth, worsening inflation by constraining the productive capacity of the economy. Again, this attacks the supply side of our economy at a time when that cannot happen and should not happen because of soaring inflation.
Yeah, I think what you're seeing is the double talk from the Biden administration and Pelosi and Schumer. They say they want manufacturing back from China, probably our greatest threat that we've seen in our lifetime against our democracy. And yet they're doing tax policy and regulatory policy that's pushing manufacturing to go elsewhere. As you just said, corporations don't pay taxes. They simply collect taxes. The American people pay the taxes in the form of higher prices, and they actually get punished by lost jobs. The 30,000 you just mentioned is on the low end. The Joint Committee on Taxation is estimating it's upwards of 200,000 jobs to be lost. I think what you're seeing right now is an administration that is just throwing stuff against the wall to see what they can do to get more tax money to continue this crazy spending that they're doing. I mean, we've got $31 trillion in debt. The deficits are growing. Only in America can you have a party like the Democrats saying we're going to go borrow money from someplace else and pay it down on our current deficit, and they call that an Inflation Reduction Act. It's really an income reduction act is what it really is. They want to hire 87,000 new IRS agents to go after our small businesses in America. Mm-hmm. And meanwhile, on our southern border, we only have 20,000 border agents. We should get that in reverse.
Joe Concha, get in here. I just want to point out that the Bank of England, which we've been talking about, did raise interest rates by the most in more than 25 years. I think it's since 1995. But the Bank of England also warns that the UK is headed for a recession will enter definitively a recession in the last quarter of this year because of the burden of soaring inflation.
Yeah, I wonder how their leaders over in England are going to define recession, right? Will it be 2 consecutive quarters of negative growth? But my question for the congressman is, OK, so we know that inflation's above 9% and people feel that, and gas prices are still way too high, above $4, and there's skyrocketing violent crime in American cities that seems to go unabated. And obviously what's happening at the border, 4 million people will have crossed into this country by the end of Joe Biden's second year, and obviously the fentanyl that comes along with it. So Congressman, my question is, we know what the Biden administration isn't doing well on any level, but what's the Republican bumper sticker in terms of the positivity that a Republican Congress or Senate or both would bring for the country? Mm-hmm.
Well, I can't speak for the Senate. Thanks for the question. I can't speak for the Senate, but I can tell you right now, Kevin McCarthy, who will soon be the Speaker of the House, has certainly been putting forth all the solutions that we need to work on. There's so many that we need to be doing. You mentioned the southern border. I just introduced of the Wired Act yesterday, withholding illegal revenue to entering drug markets. It's modeled after our state here in Oklahoma, where we have a remittance fee that any wire goes outside the country. And if you're a legal citizen, legal to be here, you get that back in your refund. If you're not, that goes to the state treasury. On the federal level, we've introduced that and had a lot of positive comments about it. We think it will actually raise about $3 billion a year from illegal transfers. That we want to create a border enforcement trust to fund it directly, since it's so political in Congress, House, Senate, and the White House. We need to fund our southern border. We had over 3 million people across the southern border since this president's been in office, and an invasion like we've never seen in our lifetime, and they're doing nothing. They're doing absolutely nothing, so we're going to do something about that. That's just one example of the things we're going to be working on.
Here's a Democrat bumper sticker for you. Open the border, empty the prisons. Border Patrol, meantime, is now offering up to $10,000 as a hiring bonus for new agents as it deals with this crisis and low morale in the agency. New agents will be given $5,000 after finishing the academy. Those assigned to hard-to-fill areas in Texas and Arizona will receive an extra $5,000. Congressman, your thoughts on this? Will it be enough for someone to take on the burden of trying to stop migration, illegal migration, when the Biden administration clearly is working against them?
Well, that's exactly right. The morale is so low. I've been to the border. If you've been to the border one time, you've been there more than Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Secretary R-Okla thinks he's doing a great job. I've told him I've issued a letter asking for his resignation because he's doing a horrible job. Now we've got Governor Abbott doing the right thing. We've talked about every state being a border state. Now he's actually buying bus tickets for those who want to go to the nation's capital. And you hear this crazy fallout from Mayor Bowser and others that they're being invaded, and they've only gotten 5,000 illegals to show up. Can you imagine if you got twice it every single day like Texas does? So the Border Patrol they feel like they're insignificant. There've been political whipsaw from this administration. They've been blamed for trying to protect us, and so we've got to bring it to Washington D.C. And if Biden won't go to the border, we'll take the border to him.
Congressman Kevin Hern, thank you for being here this morning. Always.
Thanks for having me.